If you've been looking into print on demand or using Printify, you've probably seen the success stories of people making passive income by selling t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, or a number of other different items. But how much money do you actually make once you've paid for the product? Shipping, marketplace fees, and everything else. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how Printify profits work, look at some realistic examples, and help you understand what you can actually expect before starting your own print-on-demand business. So first off, Printify doesn't take a cut of your sales, which is very nice because a lot of different platforms, they will take a fee. Instead, Printify charges you for producing and shipping the product. So it's not just a fee just for the sake of having a fee, it's because they're going to take care of the shipping and the fulfillment, which is a direct benefit of using something like Printify. So wherever you sell your product for, those costs are yours to keep. However, that's only one part of the equation because there are other costs that can eat into your profit. For example, a typical t-shirt. Let's say you sell a t-shirt for $24.99. Your Printify production cost might be around £9. Shipping could be another £4. Straight away, you're down to roughly £12. And then if you're selling on Etsy, for example, you've got Etsy transaction fees, payment processing fees, and listing fees. So after all of those, you might realistically end up with about £8 to £10 profit. Now that's still a pretty good margin, but it's very different from keeping the full £25. Another example would be selling on Shopify. So if you're using Shopify instead, things work slightly differently. You won't pay Etsy fees, but you'll probably be paying for Shopify, your domain, payment processing, marketing, and potentially apps. So the profit per sale can be higher, but because you're using Shopify, not Etsy, you're now responsible for generating all of your own traffic. So you might be spending more on marketing because there's no Etsy marketplace putting your products in front of customers. People have to find your website on their own, which gives you a few different options. So you do have to make a decision on where you're going to sell because that will change your profit quite a bit. But a massive cost to running a print-on-demand store can be advertising. If you're running Meta ads, TikTok ads, Google ads, these costs come directly out of your profit. If you get them right, then you can be in a very good position. However, it can eat into your costs quite a bit and it can be very annoying to balance the numbers. Let's imagine you spend £100 on advertising. If that brings in 10 sales, you've effectively spent £10 to acquire each customer. And that means your £10 profit per shirt could instantly become almost zero. So this is why successful sellers don't just focus on making sales, they focus on making profitable sales. That way you can reinvest profit back into the marketing and scale up your profits. If you want to get started with Printify today, just use my link in the description below. They've kindly sponsored this video today, but I've got a lot of experience with them and they are pretty good. But how can you increase your profit? Fortunately, there are plenty of ways to improve your margins. So one option is to choose higher value products. Could be premium hoodies, could be embroidered clothing, canvas prints, bundles. Higher priced products often leave more room for profit, but the upfront cost could be larger as well, so it can be a trade-off. You can focus on increasing your average order value, so instead of selling one mug, you can also sell matching coasters, notebooks, tote bags. The more a customer spends in a single order, the more profitable it becomes. Picking the right print provider as well is going to be something that's quite important because not every Printify provider charges the same amount. Some are cheaper, some produce higher quality, some ship faster. Choosing the right provider can make a notable difference to your margins over hundreds of sales. But one of the best ways of increasing your profit is to build a brand. And with big successful print-on-demand businesses, that's one of the main things they've done. They've built a brand. It's not just random design t-shirts. It comes from a business which have their own identity. People don't only buy something just because it's cheap, they can also buy because they connect with the brand. If your store feels trustworthy and targeted towards a specific audience, you can often charge more than generic competitors. And this is also where focusing on a particular audience works a lot better. If somebody feels the product is really for them, they're more likely to pay a bit more. You can also try and limit all of your upfront costs as well to increase the profit, but it just means that you might struggle to get sales in the first place. So with using Printify and using print on demand, you can make a lot of money. You have to make sure you're making consistent sales and that your marketing isn't costing you too much and eating out of your profits. If you're selling a few t-shirts, it might not make you become financially free, but if you imagine you build a niche store and you create products people genuinely want, you optimize your listings, you gradually grow your traffic. Now imagine making 100 sales every month with an average profit of £9. That's roughly £900 in monthly profit. If you grow it to 500 sales, you're now looking at 4,500. The key isn't necessarily making huge profit on a single product. That can help if the profit margins are really healthy, but it's about consistently making reasonable profit across a lot of sales. So if you are starting with Printify, don't obsess over trying to find the highest profit margin. Instead, focus on building products that people actually want to buy, because that's going to be your main driver of growth and traffic and sales. A product making £8 profit that sells every day is far better than one making £20 profit that never really gets a single order. The businesses that succeed with Printify, usually they're not chasing shortcuts, they're solving problems for a specific audience, building a recognisable brand, and continually improving their products over time. Hopefully this gives you a bit more of a clearer picture of what you can earn with Printify and print on demand. Like I said, if you want to get started today, use my link in the description below. And if you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.